Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a new chapter in our Journeyman series. For the first time, we have switched schools after 4 years at Kent State, one conference championship, one bowl victory. We are moving west to the great city of Fresno as we find ourselves at Fresno State in the Mountain West, which was a bold move, I think. But listen, it's a journeyman series. I'm not going to be at one school the whole way through. And for me, at least, winning the MAC was the goal at Kent State. And now that I have done so, it was time to move on. And we go to Fresno State in the Mountain West, which was a conference that I have never managed a team in before. So that should be fun. For this um, video today, it's going to be a shorter video. I'm going to go through the transfer portal. I'm going to go through a little bit of the off season, and then I think I'm going to do the rest of the off season stuff off stream to kind of get it more organized going into the start of my first year at Fresno State. So it's going to be a little shorter video, kind of an experiment to see how it does, views wise or engagement wise. It's not going to become the standard or anything, just something I'm messing around with. First things first, though, and shout out to someone in the comments who mentioned this. Because I left Kent State, I never really did like a so long to the seniors. And there's a decent amount of seniors at Kent State. So just really quick, I'll go through that. Jacob Hurst was our transfer QB from Notre Dame. And unfortunately, didn't live up to expectation. First year, I mean, that's all due to him just getting injured, missing 8 weeks of the season. This past week, this past year, it must be said, didn't do very well. Only 12 touchdowns through 5 picks, had multiple fumbles. Like rushing wise, he did really good. He allowed that part of our offense to thrive. He was second All MAC QB, or second team All MAC QB. But again, just kind of a disappointing transfer, I think, all things considered, with the hype of who he would have been. Quinn Buford, though not a senior, has decided to enter the draft and got taken in the third round. Were I still at Kent State, I would be crying because I really hoped on having 3 years with this guy. But, redshirt sophomore transfer from Penn State, 1,500 yards, 14 touchdowns, only one fumble. Not really an aerial threat, but that's not why he was here. Really, really good running back. I can only imagine what he would have turned into had I gotten 2 more years with him. Next is Isaiah Sims, who redshirted my first year and then just took the reins. Never quite got to 1,000-yard season, but multiple MAC awards, including MAC Running Back of the Year in 2026. He had 22 touchdowns that same year, which is insane. And just, again, dependable, amazing running back. No real complaints. Just great running back, consistent. Only a couple fumbles. Really, really solid running back. And then the last senior running back was Tanner Fleming, who was a backup depth guy the first couple years, and then became our third running back for the last 2 seasons. And I think he did fine. All things considered, fumbles were never really an issue with him. He was just your average, 350 yards a season, handful of touchdowns. He had 6 this year, couple catches every season. Just, in a third running back, no real complaints there. Wide receivers, I had no seniors. Very simple. Tight end Skylar Kyle, who was a JUCO guy I brought in. And his first JUCO year, he had 17 catches, 291 yards, and a touchdown. Pretty good. I then redshirted him his second year because I had a couple other senior tight ends that I wanted to play. And so I redshirted him. And this season reaped the rewards 36 catches, 385 yards. Just really solid tight end. No complaints. And then offensive line, I think I only had two seniors. Yeah, I only had two seniors. Drake Lockwood, who I had for 2 years, redshirt junior transfer from Navy. He allowed 8 sacks this year, which isn't nothing, but I mean, really good ratings, very dependable offensive lineman. I am a little annoyed looking at his development here. Obviously, his jump from last year to this year was extraordinary, but from when he was a redshirt sophomore to when I got him, his ratings didn't really move at all. And so I think that really stymied his overall potential. And then the second senior offensive lineman was Brady Powers, who just was a depth guy. And then played a little bit more this year due to injury and gave up 7 sacks, almost had a negative, pancake sack ratio, which isn't great. And, you know, him, if you want to look at his attributes, I mean, he started, I think I would have been here. He was a 61 overall with A potential, and he finished 73. But I mean, his run block just horrendous. That is one of the pitfalls of recruiting high potential, low overall guys, is that even when they max out, it doesn't look great. Kicker, no notes, no seniors. Defensive line had a couple seniors. Sawyer Gates was, I think, one of the more underrated players at my time at Kent State. Double-digit tackles for loss a couple seasons, numerous sacks, really good pressures. Got a forced fumble a couple years ago, but just dependable starting defensive tackle. No real complaints. Got first team All MAC defensive line this past year. And then Timothy Small, who was a depth guy, never really played for 3 years, and then this year played a decent amount. Got 30 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, a sack. Another example of just constant, piecemeal development. But I mean, his ratings never really went anywhere. Like from his freshman year, his tackling went up by 8, his block shed went up by 2, and his pursuit went up by 8. His strength also went up by 8. Like you didn't really get that much development from him. Linebacker, only two seniors. It's very unfortunate that Terry had a season-ending injury 5 weeks into the season. He was on pace to shatter his previous tackle for loss numbers completely. But I mean, he was just a dependable, solid linebacker. None of my linebackers really ever get that many tackles, just for the scheme and how I play things. But injuries were a concern. He had a major injury 2026, severe injury 2027. That limited him a bit. But dependable linebacker when he was healthy. Then the second linebacker was Jasper Bradshaw. He was our coverage guy. Really came into his own this season. 54 tackles, 7 tackles for a loss. Was targeted 33 times. Decent percentage. Got a pick. Forced fumble last season as well. Really, really good. Corner. All right, we had a couple. Devin Turner was just a guy that kind of steadily rose up the ranks, and then this year allowed a 40% completion percentage. Very, very good. 8 pass deflections as well. That's one of the better stat lines I've had a corner place. Very solid. And then Landon Gooden, who I had to convince to come back. I bribed him with playing time. And immensely rewarded. 42 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss, 1 pick. He was targeted 55 times, which is insane. Completion percentage was a bit high, but overall, I think he was very dependable and definitely worth bringing back this senior season. And then the last senior, Randy Kowalski, who was just a depth corner, never played that much, didn't really see time, which little unfortunate. One of my, I think, regrets of moving away from Kent State is that I won't get to see the growth of guys like Angelo Nielsen, Hugo Haywood, or Harley Sizemore. I think they're going to turn into a really, really good corner group. And then safety, Preston Vaughn. It must be said, I redshirted in the first year, and then he just hit the ground running as a second safety. Decent tackles, really good in coverage, especially this season. 7 of 16 passes allowed. Good for a pick every year. No notes. It's your solid safety. So that's the senior group that left Kent State. I saw a handful of O linemen transferred. Essentially, this group down here transferred away from Kent State, but other than that, didn't miss many. All right. Now that the post mortem, as it were, is completed, we must now turn our eyes and look at Fresno State. If you did not watch last video that was uploaded Monday night, or Monday afternoon rather, I recommend you do so. One, because the AI did something silly, and honestly, I think it's just how the game is coded, where when I took this job, all of the recruits that had offers for were removed from the target list, all the non-committed recruits, which means I had to go and find them and then essentially kick a lot of them out. I took -6 to my integrity by just revoking offers for recruits that Fresno State had contacted, mainly to get NIL money. Because had I not done that, I would have had only 1.5 million in NIL to spend. And with the minimum NIL requirements, or you get a, was it 1,000 point penalty? You need NIL money. And so I took the hit to 6 integrity to essentially wipe the board of most of those recruits. So coming into this, I had 8 scholarship spots available. Really quick, let me first look at the recruits that I decided to keep. So these 5 recruits are the ones that I decided to hold on to and would be worth adding to our team. Firstly, wide receiver Preston Norton, who he has A- potential, which I like. None of his numbers are really all that great, but he's not going to play next year. I have a really good receiving core here at Fresno. He's going to sit a year, and then if he gets a big development boon, he'll play as a redshirt freshman and probably contribute. I just need that catching to go up. Running back Byron Short, similar conversation. He's here as a depth. Looking at our running back room, it's pretty. We have a standout 1-2. We don't have great depth, so Byron Short could be that guy. My issue is his speed's a 69 and his strength is a 66. And neither of those numbers are really that appealing, so he needs to improve at least one of those to see the field consistently. Offensive lineman Rocco Walton, his potential is bad, it's a C-, and his overall is low, it's a 63. However, his strength, his run block's already a 67. He's going to get 2 hits of development before he even sees the field. So I expect both those numbers to be in the mid-70s, and that could be playable, in a couple years. And then cornerback Braden Reyes, who, similar idea. His potential is bad, but he's already got 81 speed, 78 evasion, 78 man coverage. Pretty good. All things considered, even if his potential doesn't go up that much, he's already a pretty well-rounded corner. I need that IQ to be above 60. And then finally, safety Tyson Bolden. He is a recruit that I'm currently behind on, and one I am projected to not get. USC has invested about the same amount of money. However, his interest in USC is a 90. His interest in me is a 69. So I don't expect to get him, but if I do, it's an A-, potential safety whose zone coverage is already an 89. It's pretty good. But like I said, we're not projected to get him. I'm operating under the assumption that I'm not going to get folded. So those are the 5 recruits that I'm looking at. The 5 transfer players. Going into this, we really only had 2 positions of need: defensive lineman, linebacker, and then maybe a good offensive lineman if one was interested. A good offensive lineman was interested. Gilberto Hood has 95 strength, 89 run block. His pass block is terrible, and he's a redshirt junior, so I'm only getting him for a year. However, I don't have that many complaints. I mean, at his time as Washington State, he's given up 9 sacks in 3 years, which isn't terrible. His pancake numbers are really good. He's got phenomenal strength, phenomenal run block. For a year, I'll take it. No complaints. It's currently a tight race with us and USC. It should be noted, USC has not offered him a scholarship yet, whereas I'm offering him both scholarship and NIL to get 1,400 points. So I hope to get him. Defensive line, I'm looking at 2 players. First, redshirt junior Matthias Presley, who was previously at Jacksonville State and crushed. Nearly got, 8, 9 tackles for loss, handful of sacks, decent pressures, couple forced fumbles this year. Again, we're only going to get him for a year, but he has 93 tackling, 81 block shed, 80 strength. That'll do for a year. We need help at defensive line, and Matthias Presley is a really good option, and would immediately be like our number 1 defensive lineman. The second D lineman I'm going for is a little more of a kind of outside the box idea, and that's Boston Boyle. Now, he had a 66 overall and A- potential, and he did not play in 3 years at Kansas State. So they essentially paid him $400,000 to ride the bench for 3 years. I accept that his numbers aren't great. The only reason I'm getting him is for next season, when he would be a redshirt senior, because his numbers are all essentially high 60s, mid 70s, where he's got A- potential, where I think he's going to get one big development boost, then probably another small one, and that should all even out to where he has like a mid-high 70 overall, an 80 block shed or whatever, and that can play. There is also a non-zero chance that he plays next year as like our 4th defensive lineman. That's how bad our D-line room is right now. So he would help. The 2 linebackers, on balance, I'm a bit more excited about. First is Peyton Hendrickson, who, yes, you're seeing that correctly. He is a 5-star transfer from Alabama, where he played in 4 games in 2 years, and his only stat was that 0-1 targets completion. So Bama paid him $1.7 million and never saw the field, which is wild. You look at his numbers, I like everything. He's not great in coverage. I don't need him to be. I have a couple other linebackers that can do that. His strength's a 90, his block shed is 89. If he were a little bigger, I would be tempted to move him to defensive line. But my fear is if I do that, then my linebacking core is just doomed. Like, we're dead. And so at the moment, he's a linebacker. However, I could move him to D-line. I may be tempted. And then the second linebacker is redshirt sophomore Cooper Hall from Washington, where, unfortunately for him, he had a really good redshirt freshman year, and then had a season-ending injury, essentially, in week 9 that took him out the rest of the way. I really like Cooper Hale. He is a monster tackler. He's not the quickest guy in the world, but he also has 76 zone, which in a vacuum isn't great. Compared to the rest of our linebackers, he is the greatest coverage person in the history of Fresno. He'll do very well. The other added bonus compared to my transfer portals at Kent State is I am ahead on every single transfer and recruit, with the exception of Tyson Bolden, who I already spoke on that I doubt I'll get him, which to that end, let me just, to be safe, I'll move him to the bottom. So there's a world where I get all these guys, and then I essentially have to choose two of them not to get because I only have 8 spots. In my priority order, I have the front 7 guys up top because our front 7 is our worst, position groups. And then the recruits, just kind of in order of need. Preston Norton would be great. Brandon Reyes would be solid. And then guys like Byron Short, Rocker Walton, Tyson Bolden. If we get them, cool. If we don't, we're perfectly fine. But Norton and Reyes would really help out. So that's where I'm at. I have spent almost all of the NIL money. I have 770,000 remaining. I am saving that for when after I advance. We'll see if I fall behind on any of these players, and we'll go from there. That's currently where I'm at. I did momentarily look at quarterbacks just to see who would be interested. Not a lot of QBs were interested. The one that I debated for a moment was going after Gail Tomlinson, who was a redshirt freshman guy from Michigan, who I think is a very, very good quarterback. Problem is, we have our starting quarterback for the next 2 years, and so that means we only get 1 year of Garrett Tomlinson, assuming everyone stays healthy. That gets a bit weird. Other than that, not a lot of QBs were really interested in me, which is understandable. I mean, our QB room, while our depth is horrendous, we do have Drew Duncan up top, and that's really all we need. I don't think I regret not cutting one of Jaden Miles or Jalen Perez. I would like to have the extra scholarship spot to get, another O lineman or something, but that is what it is. Okay. So I have done the pitches. I have spent the NIL money that I need to spend, including almost $1 million to Gilberto Hood, which for 1 year, it seems like a lot, but he'll play. So let's advance the week, see how things shake out. So last week we were ahead of 9 out of 10 players. Now we're ahead on 8 out of 10 as Colorado has arrived. They put 400,000 down on Boston Boyle's table. Wow. I mean, to be fair, of the 4 front 7 guys we're looking at, he'd be the one I would be okay with losing. All right, I don't think we're getting Tyson Bolden, so that's set. I could maybe get Boyle if I... Okay, let's do it this way. So, Hendrickson, it looks like we're getting. Rocco Walton, it looks like I am going to end up getting. Cooper Hale, I'll do one of the ace pitches. And then the other ace pitch is going to go to, I think, Matthias. Yeah, and then Gilberto Hood gets the offensive coordinator pitch because that's what he values a lot. And then the great pitches to these guys. I'm not even going to bother offering Bolden because I don't really want to spend the money on him when I have a decent group of safeties. And then I'll just do the best pitches I can to these guys. And now let's do some math. Okay, so I think I'm going to sprinkle 250,000 to Cooper Hale. That gets me a 500-point pitch, which should be enough to keep Arizona away. I'm just going to bring... it's not that much for him. Where's Matthias? Matthias, hello. I'm going to give 300,000 to Matthias. That gets me a 600-point pitch. because my assumption is both Cal and Stanford just offered about $1 million. I doubt they have that much remaining. And then Boyle can get the remaining 200,000. Although I'm still see, even if I do if I do an ace pitch, that gets me what, 730? Yeah, no, it doesn't make okay. So yeah, we're losing Boyle and Bolden. So I'll move them both down to the bottom of priority then. So then in that case, and no one, I don't think anyone got a low pitch. Oh, okay. I can improve Walton's. That's good. All right, so I got 200,000. Who do I want to give it to? Not Hendrickson. Hale, I should be good. Matthias, I should be good. Maybe Hood. Not Norton. Not Reyes. Not Short. Yeah, I mean it's either Hood. I think I give it to Hood. That gets me 532. I think a lot of this is going to come down to if the other Cal schools have more money to spend. I think if they do, then I am at risk at losing Hood. Presley, I think yeah, actually no. Presley's probably the one I'm more in danger of. Hood, I should be fine, but we'll see. So yeah, no Bolden, no Boyle. Losing out on Boston Boyle is a little bit annoying. I think he could be a guy that could have developed into something, but that's fine. Just want to make sure. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much where I'm at. Honestly, let me give. It's only 1 point difference. Never mind. I had an idea. It didn't work. All right. So those are the pitches I've done. Just for hilarity's sake, since I'm not getting the second defensive lineman, let me as quickly see if there's any other D lineman that I could just snipe at the 11th hour. To which the answer is no. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Honestly, Justin Royster, C minus potential hurts. Let's throw our hat in the ring. Since I know I'm not getting those other two, let's just do that. Although no, I'm 721 behind. Never mind. Never mind. All right, so those are my pitches. We know we're not getting Bolden. We know we're not getting Boyle. And then now we're just hoping that Cal doesn't snipe us on both Presley and Norton. But other than that, I think we're okay. If we miss out on Hood, as I said, it's not the end of the world. But I mean, he would have been one of our better offensive linemen. The other benefit, I suppose, of offering money to essentially everyone is that if I don't get a handful of players, I do get some more NIL money back for next year. Oh, you never know. I do like that NAL money in this. I have it tied to prestige because I know in the settings you can make it like a flat number, but I think it makes sense that a team like Fresno State would have what was it, 5 more million in NIL compared to Kent State and then so on. But all right, the die has been cast. Let's advance the week. Here we go. Here we go. All right, these are the men. First, let's just see. Yeah, Bolden goes to USC. Makes sense. I think if we wanted to invest the money, we could have gotten him, but I'd rather invest it elsewhere. And then, yeah, I went to Boyle goes to Colorado. All right, let's go through the list. So we have 8 scholarship spots available. So unless we get all 8, we are taking a walk on. Let us start with 5-star redshirt freshman transfer, Peyton Hendrickson. Come on down to Fresno. We beat out San Diego State and USC. Great linebacker. I might move him to defensive line. We'll see how the numbers work, especially now that we're getting Boyle. Does seem like a good idea, but really good player. I'm going to get him for 3 years. Phenomenal. Cooper Hay. We get as well. We offered a bit more money, as did Arizona State, so they had a little more to spend. But yeah, we get Cooper Hale, who, I mean, he's definitely going to be a linebacker because his zone coverage is a 76, and I don't want to waste that. I'm only going to have him for 2 years, but, I mean, he's going to be really solid for us. Hope he's good in coverage. He did really well at Washington before he picked up that injury. So, happy for him. Next up, Matthias Presley. We do get him, and good thing we offered the extra money is Cal also offered more. So for $1 million, we get the services of Matthias Presley for 1 year. 78 overall is a little low for $1 million, but he has A+ potential. I hope he'll get one last hurrah, get a bit of strength boost, get a little block shed, maybe IQ boost. Really happy with him. He is expensive, don't get me wrong, but I think for his production, it'll bear that out. All right, Gilberto Hood. It was a tight race between us and USC. Where is he going? He goes to us. Wow. USC offered 1.2 million at the final hour. But we still get Gilberto Hood services. I mean, he's going to be one of our best offensive linemen. He doesn't have great potential, so these numbers are likely what they'll be next season. But he's an amazing run blocker. His strength's 95. Again, we paid essentially $2 million for 1 year both these guys. I think it'll really help us in our ambitions this year. Very good offensive lineman. Get in the building. All right, so those were the 4 transfers we get since we didn't get Boyle, but we got the other 4, so that'll do. Now for the 4 recruits that were left over. We do get Preston Norton, the wide receiver. He's got really good potential. He's well-rounded, but none of his numbers really jump out to you. We're going to need him to get a couple good development hits. He is going to redshirt. I hope he doesn't want to transfer because he wants to be a star. We'll see. Next up, Brandon Reyes. We do get as well. He's just going to be a solid depth corner, man specialist, decent speed. Again, I'm going to redshirt him. Hopefully he doesn't complain. But I think he can be sneaky, really, really good corner for us for years to come. Next, Byron Short. We get, it looks like a lot of these teams ran out of money at the same time we did. But Byron Short, just solid depth, running back. He's not particularly great at any one thing. He's a power back that's not that big. But 73 ball security I can kind of work with. And last but not least, Rocco Walton goes to Fresno. We get a depth offensive lineman. His strength and run blocking are okay for a recruit. Pass block needs a bit of work. I'm sensing a theme here, but I hope he turns out okay. So, I mean, that's it. We had 8 scholarship spots open, and we get the top 8 players on our priority list. Would have been nice to add Boston Boyle to that defensive line room, but overall, I am very happy with how this shaked out. Looking at the recruiting rankings, Fresno State is 43 with 3 4 stars, 10 3 stars, and 2 star. For anyone wondering where our former school Kent State is, they are at 107 after 1 4 star, 5 3 stars, 8 2 stars. I didn't do a good job of getting a lot of 3 stars in the building this past year. And school updates. Our prestige went down. Well, that's a shame. We will have to get it back up then. All right, we're gonna have to get it back up. So money, we have 48 million to spend. We will pay off the debts. We are gonna max out NIL. Stadium, I think level 7 is fine. Facilities, I would like to get up to 6. College life, we're fine. That can stay where it is. Marketing needs a big boost. Similarly, academics, and then I will put the rest of the money into facilities. That's my move. College life, I mean, listen, we're a party school. We have an SS rank on college life. I think now it might just be S because it dropped from max. But I mean, that'll do. We lose a bit of prestige, which is honestly really annoying. But, the only reason I'm here is because Fresno State had a bad year. And it makes sense that that would kind of trickle into some elements. But we keep the stadium at level. We take a hit to our college life. Facilities, marketing, and academics all go up by 1. I'm okay with that. We also retained about 600,000 in NIL last year. So let's save in advance. All right. Well, we're losing a bronze donor. He says if Fresno State returns to past heights, he may return. Yeah, fair enough. All right, so that means next year we have a diamond, a gold, silver, and a pair of bronze. Not bad. No realignment for us. All right. Let's look at the schedule. So, first things first, looks like we have 8 home games, 4 away. I honestly want to make this week 4 like an away game. Not a lot of teams want that, evidently. Like single away to Ohio State. Let's do it. I'm not a huge fan of 1 home for 2 away. I'm going to be honest with you. Because this way with my home games, I have a decent amount in the middle. And I really don't like week 1 being home, but it looks like that's just what I'm going to get. I think I'll do a home and home against maybe another Cal school like a Stanford. where we're away this year. I mean, I don't hate that. We have less home games this year. That's honestly fine with the way the schedule is eked out. And, you know, listen, if you just look at our conference opponents in terms of prestige, like for Mount West opponents, Air Force 6, Utah 5. Like that's it. Everything else is threes, you know? So the expectation should be that we roll our conference. Also, I don't want Ball State. Are you kidding me? Lose $5 million? No, don't be ridiculous. Um, do I schedule Kent State? No, I will not. I will schedule maybe Tulane, get vengeance. Um, Pitt? Yeah, let's do Pitt. That way we get 3.5 from our out of conference scheduling this year. I don't hate that at all. Not in the slightest. All right. That is our schedule. At Stanford week 1, home Colorado State, at Air Force, at OSU week 4. Everyone send thoughts, prayers, and vibes my way for that game. And then 4 straight home conference games at Pitt week 10, finish at Utah State, home to San Diego State, at UNLV. Done. Advance. All right. I think I'm keeping the NIL deal penalty at half. Full is still too much. I'm sorry. Half makes sense. I'll take it. All right, let us advance to 2028. This is the time where all the frames drop. Lags. There are a few stretches where advancing the week takes a bit. All right, we're back. So, position changes. I have a couple written down. First, if I move Peyton Hendrickson to defensive line, his overall stays the same. I think I'm going to do that. And my argument is that the defensive linemen around him, all of them are going to be gone in 2 years. Like 1 through 6, gone. The exception to him. So he has the chance to be like our number 1 or number 2 D lineman this year, but number 1 O lineman 2 years after, or D lineman 2 years after that. I'll take that. And then linebacker, I mean, it's going to be Cooper Hale and a bunch of young guys balling out. I am okay with that. Let's see if there's any linebackers that are very large that would be better at defensive line. Why a 63? Oh, your strength is a 56. That would be why. I saw the weight and it threw me for a loop. 71 Pittman. I mean, but yeah, you're in a slog over here. Hmm. Nah, I think I'll keep him at linebacker. At least for this year, because he has a much higher chance of playing compared to that D line shuffle. Are there all right, Larry, you're moving the corner. And then I lied, maybe you're not. Oh, good. Our walk on is a Oh, our walk on is a corner. Wait, we shouldn't have a walk on. Did I just not cut him on the potential transfer screen? That's awkward. I lied, Larry. You're staying at safety. I lied. Are there any tight ends? I mean, yeah, the issue with moving any of these tight ends to O-line is just because they're so small that they're going to get the 3% or 4%, whatever it is, debuff to their numbers. I think we should be okay. What's Dawson Reed at wide receiver? 72? Hmm, nah. I think similarly, he gets buried pretty easily there. Yeah. All right. I think that's all the changes then. Let us advance to the offseason gains. Now, in terms of positions, we need to see gains. Defensive line, linebacker. Anything else, I don't care about. Our front seven needs to hit. We need to get better width in the front seven. But first, we must drop frames. It really is an annual tradition on these screens to drop frames in. Do, 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 do. All right. I am manifesting good gains for D line and linebacker. Please, 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 please. Now, I would like to draw everyone's attention to the transfer offensive lineman we brought in who just got a +8 and is now a 91 overall. I think that was $1 million well spent, folks. All right, let's look. QBs, hit me. I mean, sure. That's my official statement. Just sure. Drew Duncan going up by 6 is huge. +11 accuracy, +6 IQ. Arm strength goes up by a little bit. That'll do nicely. Jade Miles doesn't really move. I should have cut him. I knew it. Giovanni Tripp, who is the JUCO, that in all honesty, I'm going to redshirt. Because that's his only path to playing time, because Jaden Miles would probably be above him in the pecking order, and Tripp and Duncan are on the similar way. So yeah, triple red shirt. Jalen Perez doesn't really get anything. Gets a bit of arm strength, killing me. Cody McBride, the recruit, doesn't move. Lester Hoskins went from a B- potential to a B+, which is nice, but I mean Duncan going up by 6. That's really all I care about. Running back room, pretty decent. I think Garrison going up by 2 is a little annoying because my hope was that I would play him over Powers because he's such a good blocker. But I don't think that's going to happen. That's fine. How big is he? 233? Okay, yeah. Dawson Reed went up by 2. I feel like yeah, the problem I'm going to run into at running back is in 2 years, Darling will be gone, Garrison will be gone, and I'll have to count on these guys who are currently redshirt freshmen that have bad potential. But Dennis Jordan could always do something nice. So yeah, I think it's going to be Darling, Peters, G'day, Jordan, short law, red shirt. Wide receiver, yeah. No, the more I scroll, the worse it got. I saw the +6 from Asher Donahue. Got very excited. But yeah, I mean, our receiver core is pretty good. Raymond Norman, 0. Not only 0, his potential went from an A- to a B+. That's bad. We have a pretty deep receiving core, which is good. That also means I can redshirt Edward Boyle, which is clutch. Same with Preston Norton, whose potential went up. Clutch. Yeah, not great for the receiving core, but I mean, everyone got, 2, 3, 4. Nothing too crazy. Tight end. Oh, that's just miserable, ain't it? I mean, I only play 2 tight ends, so it's fine, but man alive. I mean, Leonard, his potential went up, so hopefully in a couple years he gets more gains. But yeah, tight end, I think, is going to be a sneaky need next season. Because Carrington, I mean, he's a great blocker. He can kind of catch, but he's the slowest tight end in the history of the world. Speaking of slow, Mateo Cortez's speed went down. Feels a bit rude. Offensive line, hit me. Yeah, now we're talking. Oh, this is such a better offensive line. Oh, even Jake McCabe went up by 5. Yep. Yep. We're going to have a great offensive line. That's awesome. I mean, everyone went up by 3, 4, 5. Hood went up by 8, which is awesome. His run block went up by 12 to 101. We're awesome. We're good. Even guys with D potential like Trenton Olson. His overall went up by 4. He got a pretty good boost. That'll do. Our depth at O-line isn't great outside of Brandon Eates. Rocker Walton, by the way, his potential did go up to a C, which I called, but he did not get the gains I was hoping for. Yeah, I mean, I think our O lineman's going to be good, but the problem is, of my 8 O linemen, I am losing 6 to graduation. So that's going to hurt. Kicker! Matthews went up by 4. Dixon went up by 3, 74-86. I'm almost tempted. See, I'm almost tempted to have Matthews red shirt and play Dixon. My argument being Dixon is more well-rounded, and Matthew, I mean, his kick power is a 67. His medium actually wasn't great. His kick percentage from medium was terrible. I honestly might redshirt him and play Dominic Dixon for a year. I don't hate that at all. D-line, please be good. Yeah, we're good. We're back. That's a +7 and 5 for the depth, guys. We're good. We're okay now. We're okay. Matthias Presley, the transfer, goes up by 3. Kendall Vance goes up by 6, including +10 tackling. That, I mean, yeah. Yeah, all right. Our D-line is so much better now. Ruben Kruger went up by 5. That helps a lot. Big strength boost. Good. And a lot of these D linemen, I'm going to get another year of development too, which is nice. I'll have to kind of figure out if I want to play 6 or 7. Because I think Ethan Newman's better than Kruger, but to what extent? That would be the question. Linebacker. I mean, yeah, the depth guys got decent gains, 3s, 4s. Malik Gurr went up by 6, which is awesome. Pursuit up by 9, tackling by 10. Cooper Hale only going up by 2 is a little bit annoying, but his potential went up. Big boost to strength. Good coverage boost also. I think, in all honesty, Reginald Adcock is going to be our third linebacker. It's going to be Hale, Greer, and then him. I'm fine with that. We have a lot of redshirt juniors that have bad potential in this middle group, which I don't love. So I might play guys like Caden Caldwell and Damian Wilkinson more. But we'll see. Corner, hit me. Yep, 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 yep. Is this the best group of corners in the Mountain West? Probably. I mean, I'm just going to play these five on down, which will do. Brandon Reyes, the recruit we just got. I mean, he got okay. His speed didn't move, which is a bit annoying. His IQ goes up by 8, which is honestly pretty clutch. Yeah, Hill red shirt, and then I have Gail McGowan, who isn't terrible. Frazier for depth. I'm fine with that. Safety, pretty good also. How many? What snap percentage did I promise McCoy? 40. I think 40 might be tough. I'm gonna have to play him over one of these two guys, which is a shame because he doesn't deserve it at all. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm gonna have to be heartless and play him over Lofton. Hindsight being 2020, probably a stupid promise, but he is 1 year younger than the two guys ahead of him, so that is a trade-off. I mean, overall, pretty good gains across the board. Defensive lineman, I'm really happy with, especially the depth. Linebacker, not as good, but the group as a whole was just worse, so that's to be expected. Pretty good, all things considered. Let us advance to the game plan. I kept my defensive coordinator. He came with me from Kent State, so that's all going to be the same. We're still going to be a run first team, I think. No real changes there. So, all right, let's go to the spring, figure out our depth chart situation, get our red shirts, and then see how much time we got. Do, 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 do. Advancing week. There we go. All right. Depth chart. Hello. Giovanni, red shirt. Cody, red shirt. And then, yeah, I think this is where I'm at for the backups. Running back could get a little. I'm slightly worried about guys complaining of playing time at running back, but I think we should be okay. I think our short yardage back has to be Darling. Just because, I mean, he has the same ball security as Garrison, but his ball carrier vision is 11 better. He's stronger. He's much faster. Like, he has to be our short yardage back. Has to be. And then I think I'm going to have Dennison Jordan above Dawson Reed as our fourth running back. Wide receiver, I'm going to redshirt Boyle and Norton. Und then I don't really have that many great catchers, which is a slight issue. I'm fine with Donahue being one. Am I? No, I'm not. Roberts is one. Donahue two. Fox or Norman. Think I'll take Fox. I'm losing a bit of catching, a decent amount of route running, but seven more speed, nine better evasion. Yeah, Norman definitely four. All these guys are redshirt sophomores. The recruiting class, the wide receiver recruiting class that Fresno must have had 3 years ago. Crazy. And then Pearson ahead of Peyton. Yeah, I think that's fine. Tight end. What a sad. We're so doomed after this depth. Two tight ends, I think. Going back to two. I'm almost tempted to go to five wide receivers, but my fear is if I do that, then like Peyton will want to transfer. Harrison would want to transfer. I'll stick with six. Offensive line. Okay, I have eight, which I think is what I want still. Hooper ahead of Fluker for the 86 pass block and slightly better strength. Jake McCabe ahead of Gavin Green for the insane amount of run blocking. Honestly, give me Hooper over Outlaw. Well, no, I lied. Uh, Gavin Green is fine at seven. Knights eight. Yeah, I think then this kind of sorts itself out. 67 strength, my friend. That is a low number. We're pretty good in the O line depth department. Defensive line, now this is where things may get a little fun here. I redshirt Ethan Newman for his second JUCO year. No, but that could be kind of funny. Okay. So Newman, why is his overall so low relative to his other numbers? That's what I don't understand. I'm debating where to put him. Right now, I'm going to put him at four, and I'm going to see how much I hate that later. Presley at one, yes. Vance at two. I like Hendrickson. Yeah, Hendrickson at two, Vance at three, Newman four, Wilkinson five. I would prefer the 10 better tackling and 8 better pursuit over the 7 block shed. Wilkinson's also stronger. Yeah, done. Um, Tackle ability really drops off at a certain point, huh? How has Stafford done in years previous? Yeah, he's done pretty good. Kruger also did good. I think that's fine. I don't love it, but it's kind of where I'm at. Linebacker. Okay, this could get depressing very quickly. I'm almost tempted to go down to five. I think the reason I won't is because I want the coverage ability that Eric Trevetti is going to get me. To be fair, he's going to be four, actually. So Cooper Hale is 1, Malik Greer 2, Adcock is 3. His tackling is just too low. Like it is 77. He's great in coverage, but his tackling is a 77. What's his speed? 70. Yeah, he's slower than the other two. Yeah. Honestly, I might drop him all the way to 4, which is insanely harsh, but I think I do. Eric, I need there for his 94 tackling and his 82 zone coverage. So then it becomes, who do I put at 6? Richard is a horrendous tackler, and he's not great in coverage. Christensen is worst pursuit, but I don't really care about that as much. Yeah, and then Richard, then Brand. Okay, I'm okay with that. Corner. Now, I mean, it kind of just writes itself. I think at number 1, give me the guy with the best coverage, period. And that's Rishi Webb. Sargent can be 2. I'm okay with that. He's 106 speed. He's great. Yeah, our guys are great in man coverage. Zone coverage, we have legitimate issues. But man coverage, I think we're pretty good in lockstep 1 through 5. Safety. All right. So McCoy needs to play, which is unfortunate. He's going to be taking someone's spot. I think Larry Fisher is number 1. McCoy's going to go to 2. Lofton drops to 3. Yeah. Yep. That one kind of stings, don't it? I think I'm going to start with 4 safeties and just see how that pans out. I might drop it to 3. We'll see. Actually, I am going to start it at 3 and just see what happens. Kicker, as discussed, Matthews, red shirts. Dominic Dixon is my kicker punter. Matthews, his accuracy is just terrible. He went 6 of 11 on medium kicks. Like, his accuracy is bad. It needs help. And so I'm going to redshirt him this year. If he complains, so be it. Dominic Dixon is going to be our kicker. He wasn't a great punter last year, but he's going to be our kicker and our punter this year. Return specialist. Yeah, I'm fine with Peyton. I'm losing a bit of speed compared to Roberts, but I'm getting a lot better ball carrier vision. Well, I mean, last year it was Roberts, and he took one to the house, and he averaged 8 a return. Peyton, it's about the. I mean, I'm gonna give it to Roberts then. All right, that is our depth chart. Overall, not too shabby. A massive step up from Kent State, it must be said. One thing I do want to check really quick is looking at Toledo here. Oh, wait, no, he wasn't on the roster last year. Whoops. 2026. Toledo. Roster. QB. Sanderson. Where are you at now, buddy? Oh, he's still at Ohio. Cool. Man, he even tried killing us there. All right, I just wanted to check on the former QB. Okay. So here we stand. So looking at Kent State, QB, they're sticking with They're sticking with Seth Vogel at quarterback. So they must have promised him something. His arm strength went up by 1, accuracy up by 3, IQ went up by 8. All right. They're going with Vogel. Ashton Morgan, it appears his accuracy still didn't change. Man alive. All right, so that's their QB room. Running back room. Yeah, they brought in 2 new running backs. Craziness. Which, I mean, you needed to. You lost all your good ones. Wide receiver, it looks like it's about the same group. Tight end, they brought in a depth guy. O-line looks pretty solid, all things considered. Kicker, Carlos. How'd your, yeah. Yeah, he had a big boost. D-line, ooh, they brought in a really good O-lineman, Mike Gruyere. Xander Odell as well. Okay, so the AI prioritized the D-line. Good call. Linebacker, it's about the same. Felix Starks, I don't recognize. I should. He was on my team. That's awkward. Corner. They convinced him to stay. They convinced Sizemore to stay, and they're all the better for it. Look at that corner room, man. 3 redshirt sophomores at the top, all with great overalls. That'll do. Safety. Looking very top heavy, but that's fine. All right, nothing too crazy. Okay. I am going to end the video here. Like I said at the top, I kind of want to try a shorter video to see how that does with like views and engagements and that sort of thing. Um, I will do the remaining parts of the preseason off stream, the spring, the summer windows, and then I'll recap how that recruiting is going. And the next stream we can go into week 1 with the team. I mean, overall in the transfer portal, I'm really happy with how it went. I think we definitely helped out our linebacking core by getting Cooper Hale in the building. Defensive line, Matthias Presley, Peyton Hendrickson, they've solidified, that position. I think moving Hendrickson up to 2 in the pecking order is also really good. Weaknesses with the team, I think, the linebacker room isn't great. It's very much, mid 70 overall on a prayer. I hope we don't have any issues with guys complaining about playing time, especially a lot of the redshirt sophomores that are down the order a little bit. But overall, we're looking like a pretty good football team. I am confident at the moment. I think we have our out of conference schedule, is a tough one. Ohio State, I'd like to win it. It's more likely they'll beat us by 30. Stanford's a team probably a little bit above our level in terms of just ranking and overall talent. So I think that'll be a good game. Pitt, I think we should beat. They had a good year last year, but I think that's a game we should win. So I'm excited to kick off the first season at Fresno State. Next video, my goal is to have one more stream this week and sort of go for there. But thank you all for watching. I know it's a shorter video this time around, shorter stream. I saw we had a handful of viewers in here, so thank you if you could catch it live. If you're watching on YouTube, please remember, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I try to get multiple videos up a week to try to keep the pace going. And I'm excited to see how we do in year one of Fresno State. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.